While many commentators have been talking about different kinds of unrest in our country, prefaced by saying that this is what you get when you vote against a system that's working because, I don't know, mean tweets. And they're absolutely right, mind you. When you put all of those things together, you come to two conclusions. One, if you think that we're headed towards becoming a communist state, it may be too late. It seems we're already there, even though we as Americans still have more freedoms than anywhere else around the world. And two, this, ladies and gentlemen, is Biden's America. Hey everybody, your resident man in black is back one more time for another installment of Things That Need to Be Said. For MRC-TV, I'm Nick Kangadis. Really quick, I'd love it if all of you could head on over to Rumble and subscribe to our channel. And no matter where you watch our videos, please share, like, and don't be bashful about commenting. I love to read what you guys have to say, and I couldn't do what I do without all of you. So now, on with the show. No matter where you turn, no matter the societal or political subject you're talking about, there's currently no escaping what those of us with 2 eyes, 2 ears, and a functioning brain can see. That this is the America you get when far leftists run the place. Beijing Biden's campaign claim that he's a moderate who will unite the country is only partially true. It's false in the sense that nothing he or the people who control him have done could be considered anywhere close to moderate. What is true is that he has done a fair bit of uniting the country, possibly faster than any president in our country's history. The only problem is that more and more Americans are united against his regime.
Let's go, Brandon. Joe Biden. I agree.
Biden's approval rating, according to polling aggregate Real Clear Politics, is at an all-time low, and his do-nothing VP Kamala is even lower than that. These two are so unpopular that the left is actually contemplating having Hillary Clinton run again. Think about that.
It's really hard.
Now that we've gone over how much people disapprove of the current regime, let's take a look at why and sit down for this, because when you put all of these different failures together, it not only makes the reaction to it shocking, but it'll most likely make you angry. First, and I want to get this out of the way because these people have become nothing more than an arm of the DNC, let's look at the establishment corporate media. CNN is basically turning a portion of their network into a televised arm of the Democratic Party by planning to create a quote-unquote team dedicated to covering misinformation. As we all know, all CNN would have to do to complete that mission is look in the mirror, or just next door at their neighbor, the real Russian conspiracy merchants, MSNBC. CNN also had one of their many Democratic strategists, Paul Begala, do what Hollywood has already perfected: deflect from any wrongdoing on Democrats' part and blame it on the fans, also known as their base.
I think the problem for the Democrats right now is not that they have bad leaders. They have bad followers.
No, it can't possibly be us. It's just that you're too stupid to understand what we're trying to do. Begala, you idiot. They understand perfectly what you're doing, or at least near half of them do. MRC-TV's Brittany Hughes reported on a Rasmussen poll that claims 48% of Democrat respondents say they, quote-unquote, think federal and state governments should be able to fine or imprison people who even questioned the government-funded pharmaceutical enriching medical procedures that they're trying to force on everyone. Really? Half of Democrats? Half! That's just the media and the animus they have for the people they pretend to care about. And I didn't even scratch the surface on them. How about homelessness and crime? I don't have to tell you. People like Tucker Carlson and those at local news outlets have been telling the story. See for yourselves.
What you're seeing now was shot this morning on Skid Row. Skid Row in LA is a 50-block neighborhood east of downtown. And it's hard to overstate just how dystopian it is. You should go for yourself sometime and drive through, roll them up, but watch. You will not believe this is America, the country you grew up in. This is what California got for $12 billion. Not fewer homeless, just better funded homeless, and thousands more of them. So like COVID and OxyContin and virtually everything else that's wrecking the country our ancestors built, this is a manufactured crisis. It didn't happen by accident. People paid for it.
The tents remain on Miller Playfield. The city saying help is on the way.
When you walk in certain parts of the city, you can't even walk on the sidewalk.
There is more homelessness in this city than at any time since the Great Depression of the 1930s.
As for crime, let's take the murder rate, for example. It's the highest it's been in 25 years since former President Bubba, I can't keep it in my pants, Clinton inhabited the Oval Office. The vast majority of our big cities, ironically all run by people of a certain political persuasion, saw record highs in homicides. 12 major cities hit all-time homicide records last year, according to ABC News, and they reported that with 3 weeks left to go in 2021. Portland, Oregon, Tucson, Arizona, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Austin, Texas, St. Paul, Minnesota, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Indianapolis, Indiana, Louisville, Kentucky, Toledo, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, Rochester, New York, and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania were all reported to have broken homicide records. Oh, and every single one of those cities, you guessed it, all run by Democrats. And I'm not even talking about other crimes. Chicago has seen carjackings reach record highs. In San Francisco, you can rob businesses, and as long as you don't steal too much, go right ahead. In New York, you can now take illegal drugs in government-sponsored safe houses. Again, I'm not even scratching the surface. And speaking of government and their ineptitude, and I don't need to go too deep into it because we've all had just about enough of it, but mandates. Want to go to Hawaii on vacation? Not unless you've got at least 3 shots. Want to do pretty much anything in New York and the left coast? Sorry, do not pass go unless you like the knee of the government on your neck. Once again, not even scratching the surface. What about public schools, or as I like to call them, government indoctrination centers? Heck, both teachers and students are using COVID as the reason that neither one of them want to actually go to school. In cities across the country, teachers and their communist Red for Ed unions have made getting teachers inside classrooms basically a negative. And students who simply don't want to be there because they're kids are walking out of schools, claiming they're not safe. And for the most part, they're right, just not because of COVID. How about grocery store shelves?
Grocery store shelves are empty yet again, and it could reportedly be months before they're stocked to normal levels.
I saw the pictures of empty shelves and the leftists who deny the same pictures despite the visual evidence. And because I hadn't experienced it myself, I didn't take it too seriously. Well, what do we always accuse the left of? Not taking anything seriously until it lands on their doorsteps. Well, in my latest excursion to shop for food, I finally saw what a lot of people had already experienced. Now, all the shelves weren't empty, but if you wanted chicken or vegetables, good luck, because there were practically none to be had unless you like the processed versions of those items. And that brings us to our intelligence agencies. Intelligence. Agencies that were supposedly constructed to keep the country safe, take actual criminals into custody, and gather intelligence on our foreign enemies, not the average law-abiding citizen. Now it seems that they're just another arm of the establishment. Just take the Texas synagogue hostage situation, for instance. The FBI initially came out and said the radical Islamic terrorist wasn't targeting Jewish people until they came out a day or two later and said that, in fact, the now deceased extremist fundamentalist did intentionally target Jews. Why say anything at all if you're not sure, or there's a possibility that what you're claiming isn't actually the case? But that's not all. Now, the FBI has been caught in what looks like another lie concerning this case. The rabbi of the Congregation Beth Israel Synagogue did an interview in which he contradicted the FBI's claim that all the hostages were released. But Rabbi Charlie Citron Walker told a different story.
When I saw an opportunity where he wasn't in a good position, I made sure that the 2 gentlemen who were still with me, that they were ready to go. The exit wasn't too far away. I told them to go. I threw a chair at the gunman and I headed for the door. And all 3 of us were able to get out without even a shot being fired.
So they escaped and weren't released as the FBI had claimed. Kudos to Town Hall's Matt Vespa for reporting on that. I can't say it enough. I haven't even scratched the surface on our intelligence community. That was one instance. Forget the NSA spying on you, the IRS discriminating against people of certain political beliefs, the FBI possibly inciting violent acts by placing themselves within political groups, and much, much more. Folks, all of this, and I haven't even talked about what our federal government and the usual garbage who are elected to serve the people, attempting to undermine any integrity we still have in our elections, their calls to target political dissidents and put them on lists, and their call to harass their political opponents in their private lives. There's no other way I can say it. This is Biden's America. You awake yet? So, were these things that needed to be said? Is all of this compiled together, putting it in perspective for you? Let me know in the comments, where I do read most and reply to some. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel on Rumble. If you like this video, don't forget to share it, comment, and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so that YouTube might actually let you know when MRC-TV comes out with a new video if they haven't censored it or taken it down yet. Like us on Facebook and check out more of our work at MRCTV.org. For MRC-TV, I'm Nick Kangadis.